Ladies and gentlemen, 6 sims, 1 lot, 1 winner, and no escape. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to The Sims 4 Hunger
Games.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen, this is The Sims 4 Hunger Games Day 1. My name is MysteriousMrRyan, and here is your 5-minute roundup of the last 12 hours. So, it started off with the initial countdown for the beginning of the Hunger Games themselves. It started straight off, however, immediately we ran into problems in the form of Carlo and Anna. It started with a fight straight away. Carlo led in to cause the problems, however, this was not his wisest move, as we'll find out a bit later on. To start with, it seemed like Laura was using the wise decision by going away and actually trying to plant some food for later on, very much playing the long game, but a wise decision in my opinion. As we see here, the fight between Carlo and Anna just coming to an end, but Carlo did end up drawing the short straw and drawing first blood. Unfortunately, he did lose the first lot of life. Anna stepped away from this fight, went straight to fishing, very much like Laura, trying to play the long game, getting a bit of a food reserve, a wise decision for the health later on. Carlo's day went from bad to worse. We just saw there the tail end of a fight between him and Zach, which cost him yet another of his 3 lives. In his day state, however, he did walk into the centre and start fishing in the central pool. Not a very wise place to be, especially when you're down to only 1 life remaining. Laura saw after the end of the fight between Zach and Carlo an opportunity to strike, so made a beeline straight for him to cause another fight. Possibly not good for either of them given their current position. Now Carlo in the centre, still dazed, possibly should have realised when Hugo came over to freshen up that that was not a good place to be, but they both stayed there and both walked away. Here we see the end of the fight between Laura and Zach. Who will be the victor on this one? I'm afraid Zach did lose a life. Not a good start to the games in under an hour in the zone. Anna still undisturbed fishing for quite a large portion of the day, and Laura took herself away from all the fights to go back to her food reserves, planting plants and making sure she was ready to play the long game. However, this was not to go on for too much longer. Hugo did come along, spot what was going on and start a fight once more. Not good. Carlo took a bit of a wander in his day state, moved back to the centre of the map, not a good place to be, but we see here Hugo lost a life, his first life of the games. Now, here's where Carlo should have really been awakened, as Mary comes over to actually start a bit of an argument with him. Carlo trying to freshen up, possibly not his good move. You think he would have walked away at this point, and it looks like this could be the start and finish of the final fight between them, but it seems like Mary did just come over for an argument and did actually walk away and told him to get his act together. As we move here now, we see that Anna is still fishing. Spent a large amount of her day fishing, trying to get as many things as possible for reserves. Unfortunately, though, did not catch much for the latter part of the afternoon. Mary did come over and actually start another fight with Zach. Very angry, stormed all the way over. But this possibly could have been her undoing, because it seems like the fight with Zach possibly was not her best move. As we see here, the fight rages on for a little while before we cut now, and we actually see that the reserves Laura has been planting have now been discovered by Anna. Moving away from her fishing, she decides to plant some plants as well, not having much luck on the fishing line. She plants some food as well in the same place as Laura, so Laura's reserves have been discovered, so this could be problematic later on in the game. As we see here, just the end of the fight, we see that Mary has actually lost a life now, is now down on the life front. Carlo and Hugo did have a bit of a discussion for quite a while. Looked like we were having a heated row at one point, however it did tone down, maybe swapping of tactics. Could this be a team up? We're not entirely sure. All we know is this talk went on for a little while before they both walk away. Mary did a little bit of fishing, again trying to play the long game a little bit more. Rather than losing lives and starting fights, she instead tried to fish to build up a reserve, but will this be enough to outlast the others? As we see here, Hugo and Carlo do walk away from each other after the discussion. Not sure what happened there. Unfortunately, we have no audio from the location itself, bar the tree sounds. Our cameras are not microphoned up to the characters themselves. So I'm afraid as we look here over the map itself, we can see there is a contestant in the centre there, but as we can see, a large amount of tree cover and most sims spending a large amount of time out of the way. We see Anna just filling up with the fishing at the moment. She's moved away from this and she's now carrying on with her planting. So far she built up quite a large reserve of fish and is now preparing to plant some plants for nutrients and is watering them regularly. Laura's reserves, however, still discovered. As we fade to night now, we see that the land itself still quite dusk-like. Anna, however, did actually fall into the pond, so is now currently starting to smell a little bit. This can only be helping the other players to detect her. This is not going to be good, but we see here a fight between Hugo and Mary broke out. Now this was started by Hugo, but could this actually be the undoing of him here? We see here that Laura did spend a little bit of time practicing her fishing skills in close proximity to another one of the tributes, but here we see the fight coming to an end, and who will lose a life this time? And it is Hugo. It was a very poor decision of his to start that fight. And as night draws in, all the Sims actually moved to the outside of the area and began to sleep. And that pretty much concludes your 5-minute roundup of today's Sims 4 festivities. So I hope you've enjoyed the first episode of the Sims 4 Hunger Games. If you have, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button down below. Don't forget to share this video with your friends, and stay tuned for the final installment of the Sims 4 Hunger Games.